Hi, my name is Bethany Mills. I chose to do my discrimination speech over discrimination of the deaf. Being deaf means you cannot hear anything. I feel like there's not enough light shined upon the topic of deaf people. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been discriminated against? Maybe something you cannot control. People that are deaf have no control of the way they are. It's something they are just born with. I feel like judging a person just because they don't have the same hearing capabilities as somebody else is not right. If you think about it, being deaf is somewhat kind of cool. Don't get me wrong, I would not want to be deaf. I think they have a special talent and a special sense. They have a lot more to learn than just normal people like me and you. If they were born deaf, they not only have to learn just the simple things we do, they had to learn what their parents are trying to teach them. Also, if you think about it, the parents have a stressful role in the situation. If they are first-time parents, they are not only learning how to take care of a newborn, they are also learning how to care for a child that has no hearing capabilities. They had to learn sign language to be able to master it, to be able to even communicate with their own child. It will be easy to get frustrated with them, which is understandable. You not only get frustrated with your own child because they can't comprehend stuff as easily as other children can, but also get frustrated with yourself. It's easy to get frustrated with yourself as a parent because you feel like if your child isn't learning as well as you would hope, you think that you aren't doing as good of a job teaching sign language to them. Not to throw out a bunch of statistics to you, but it is proven that more than 90% of deaf people are born to hearing parents. A lot of people in our society discriminate against deaf people. And they see somebody signing sign language, they automatically label them as freaks or weird. It's honestly sad that is what our culture has come to. As a deaf child grows up and gets weird or even dirty looks, they will sometimes start to question themselves. In some cases, deaf people will sometimes become bitter towards society. They think that just because one person or a few people judge them because of their disability, they assume all people judge them. This obviously isn't true. When they go start looking for a career pathway, once they're an older teenager or adult, it might be difficult to find one that can suit their needs. In the Fighting Workplace Discrimination Against a Hearing Impaired article, it talks about how a company wouldn't hire a deaf person. This obviously caused a huge uproar with the company and started a court case. In the end, the company did not win the court battle. It's not going to be easy to find a job such as working with the public if you don't have the ability to hear. Fortunately, there's a light at the end of the tunnel for some people affected. There's a surgery that puts cochlear implants in ears. Between the cost of evaluation, surgery, the devices, and rehab, it can cost as much as $100,000. Thankfully, most health insurance policies and companies will cover most of the cost. On a side note, there's many videos on YouTube of the patients that had just had the implants put in, and after they're turned on, they get to hear for the very first time. Most usually end up tearing up as soon as they hear something like their mom's voice or their significant other's voice. If you have a chance sometime, go watch a couple of the videos in your spare time. They will provide you with a different outlook on deaf people. Just a little more information about cochlear implant surgeries. Surprisingly, it only takes about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes to perform the surgeries, and is usually an outpatient surgery. It's technically not a major surgery, but in the patient and their family's lives, it's definitely major. It's ideal to wait until a patient is at least 12 months old to perform the surgery. The patient won't be able to hear immediately after the surgery because without the external transmitter part of the cochlear implant, they will not be able to hear. Wherever the surgery is performed, they will give the patient the external components that include the external transmitter part around a month after the surgery, when they go back for a checkup, which is their first programming session. They wait this long because the ear has to heal entirely, which includes swelling. After the swelling goes down, they are able to start fitting and programming the other parts into the implant. Once a child can hear, they're obviously going to want to be like the rest of the world. They're going to want to be able to talk. It will sound weird at first, but with anything else, it just takes practice to get good at anything. They are also limited in what they can learn. With normal people like me and you, we have the opportunity to go to school anywhere we please. For deaf people, they are limited on how and where they can learn at. In Kentucky, for example, there's only one school they can go to learn. The school is called Kentucky School for the Deaf. It's in Danville, Kentucky, which is about 3 hours away from Henderson. According to their website, they only have 140 students. Families of the students do not have to pay a tuition like if they would in a private school. A little known fact about this school is that it was a first state-supported school of its kind in the United States. When the school first opened, they thought it could serve deaf people in the western and southern United States. People came all the way from all of the southern states besides Florida to come to this school to meet their needs. Some people even came as far as Montana to serve their educational needs. The school is like any other school when it comes to sports. It offers volleyball, boys cross country, boys and girls basketball, and track and field. This shows that there's not too many affected by having a hearing impairment, but there's still enough to base a school off of. There's a show that can relate to deaf children. It's called Switch at Birth on ABC Family. It shows what deaf children and teenagers go through on a daily basis. It shows a guy named Emmett and how both of his parents are deaf and how his dad gets a cochlear implant when he's a teenager. His dad stops signing now that he can speak, and it's a major life change for Emmett because he's grown up around his dad always signing, and he stops, so it's definitely an adjustment. This show brings awareness to deaf people and how they deal with it and shows the world the simple things that we do, but it can be a major for a hearing impaired person. I think that we can all, as a society, stop judging people so much and discriminating against them, especially deaf people. If we do something as small as that, it can make the world a much better place to live in. Because at the end of the day, we all need this world to be a better place to live in, because let's face it, we're not doing so hot right now. But this is definitely an interesting subject, and I would like to learn more on it in the time being, and I would definitely suggest other people doing it. Thank you.